Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now, we are joined by Neil, Righty Curvature, Arthur, 10th Man, Arwin, and a whole bunch of people in Gilded, so welcome one and all.
Hello, hello, good afternoon.
Arwin is ace.
Arwin is ace. It's nice that he gets a compliment this early in a live show.
I was there in his live show, yes.
Yeah, it was a blast, wasn't it?
Have you just finished a good show?
It was,
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, well, jolly good to know.
Great.
Let's do a bit of
Very
housekeeping.
flat Earth technical.
Go on, Arthur. What, you fill us in. What was going on over on Arwin's show?
There were those globetards, MC Banner and Akumo Virus, who were going on with their same old horse shit, that Newtonian laws of motion are still applicable, although Arwin kept insisting that no, they are fundamentally not compatible with each other. And there's a very nice example which Arwin gave of two puzzle pieces, both of which have hooks outside coming out. So it's fundamentally incompatible. And that is what they're trying to reconcile. So it was pretty obvious. Still, they kept on going on and on about it.
Yeah, for an hour in my chat. They just kept on reasserting it.
They're fundamentally different geometries. One's fourth dimension and the other's three-dimensional geometry. Well, the two, you can't shoehorn in a fourth dimension into a three-dimensional geometry. That's just not. It's not possible. So to say that they're kind of, what are they saying? They're compatible. What was the word you used?
Yep, they're fundamentally incompatible.
Correct. But if they want to argue that, what cracked me up was in the Skype message, because I did happen to catch it while I was waffling on, like I was in the pre-show to Paul, the guy who bought this new PC, just telling him what I've been doing, like I bored you all with in the pre-show. Yeah, it cracked me up because they were flat earthers saying this. Am I wrong?
I don't think so. MC Banner doesn't seem like a flat earther to me.
Oh, okay. Maybe I just got that from a misinterpretation of earlier bits of text in that Skype chat. But let's ask the question.
So
is there any scientific evidence? Any scientific evidence of gravity?
One question for Arwin. Arwin, so they thought the puzzle of a horse was going to fit with the puzzle of an airplane? Is that what it was?
Well, what it actually started out with is that the guy said that Einstein himself said that, I don't know, his equivalence principle was compatible. So he said that Einstein stated that it was compatible somehow. And he kept insisting. But I think he was just kind of twisting the words, and it's just gave me a headache.
Did we get a hello from anyone in Discord yet? Or Discord, Gilded?
Gilded.
Hey, Righteous, good enough. Let's start there, though. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
I have something here. It says, what is the evidence of gravity? The proof of gravity is the demonstration that the phenomenon happens. A casual demonstration would be to hold an ordinary object out in the air at arm's length and let it go. Watch it fall. The object and the Earth
Whoa.
just accelerated towards each other
Gotta stop
when
here.
there was no other
Don't need anything
significant
else.
force
Stop.
acting.
Stop. Hold an item. I've got a helium balloon. Out at arm's length and do what with it?
Let it go.
Let it go. It's just gone up.
Oh dear. But this is what they do in school. That's what they say.
Oh, hold on.
do, in school.
I'm not done. I've got a bit of water. Now, I'm very patient, but I'm going to hold this little tiny puddle of water outside all day. By the end of the day, it's gone. Not because it's dribbled through my fingers, but because it's gone through a phase change and evaporated. Just merely by being heated by my hand. Or the sun. Well, that's not going down either.
Well, that debunks that, doesn't it?
Yeah, gravity's nonsense. Some stuff goes down, some stuff goes up. That's a phenomena that we experience. Some stuff remains neutral. You can have stuff in water that's not going up or down, it just remains neutral. Right?
Oh, you can have stuff in air that does that as well. Asbestos will remain neutral in air when made friable.
Right.
It won't go up or down.
So therefore, to say, well, the reason we've got gravity or gravity is, and then start with an explanation now, if you put something out at arm's length and release it, it drops, that's nonsense. Plenty of things don't drop. They go up. Some things remain neutral. Therefore, the phenomena, if you're going to describe it at all, is some things go down, some things go up, some things remain neutral. Why does that happen? Why is that a phenomena we experience? But that would be the phenomena.
So a citation was demanded of Arvin of his claim that F is equal to ma does not apply to gases. So Arvin may have said it in, I'm paraphrasing, in some other words.
Yeah, I did say that.
So
But
a citation was demanded of Arvin then.
Okay.
well, I don't have any. I just know that gas doesn't have mass effectively. The mechanism of mass doesn't apply to gas. It's a Newtonian mechanism. That's what it's anchored in.
What's mass?
And it just doesn't apply.
What's mass?
Mass is a
Yeah, I was
factor.
gonna say, what's mass?
Mass is a component derived from the density.
Well,
But
even
it
gas
is like susceptibility to momentum, or what do you call that again?
That's
Traction
inertia.
or inertia, right?
Well, no,
And gas
inertia is
doesn't do that.
inertia. Is
Gas
inertia.
only
There's only two
Yeah.
descriptions. One is the amount of stuff that it's got, which is mole, and the other you've just given, which is inertia. But mass is essentially undefined because it's got a equivocation, which is to say that it's got other definitions that are the same as the definition of gravity. You've already got a definition for inertia, and you've already got a definition for mole.
right. And besides, mass is, to me, is really effectively derived from weight, which is, well, based on relative density principles. So air weight, water weight, vacuum weight, those are all different types of results for the same claimed effect, right? The same different numerical output.
Well, yeah, you're right and wrong. They aren't different. They're the same. It's just medium specific. But you already said that in terms of relative density, because relative to what? Well, the medium. But yeah, they're not. They're the same effect. You might have a different material behave completely the opposite in a different medium. Like us, we might go down, go boom, boom in air, but we remain neutral in water. Well, that's different because of the medium. Specifically, relative density is medium specific.
So I guess at this moment, we're just waiting for the ballers to recognize when the penny drops.
Or goes up, depending on what you're releasing.
Just
And
obviously,
it's
once
been
they
7
understand-
years. 7 years and still waiting.
Well, trying to put gas pressure into the force convention is a bit problematic in of itself.
And you know what was done by a virus? He said F is equal to ma, and right beside that he wrote P is equal to F by A. F in the sense force, and I suppose he meant area by A, but that is how low he has to stoop in order to conflate the A in F is equal to ma and pressure, so that they can talk about these two things at the same time. It's not the same A. P is equal to F by A has A is equal to area, right? Force per unit area. And A in F is equal to MA is acceleration. Are you hearing, Achemovirus? I pointed it out in the chat.
And did he recognize your correction in the chat?
No,
course not.
whistled past the graveyard.
I don't miss virus, I can tell you that much.
Speaking of surface area, any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Negative.
Well, can you have a gas pressure gradient without gas pressure?
No.
So when they ask about the gas pressure gradient, they're just ignoring the problem.
QE summarizes it best. It's the problem is X, and they ask you about delta X. So a delta of gas pressure would be gas pressure gradient. But in order to have gas pressure gradient, you've first got to have gas pressure, and you can't have gas pressure without a container. So when you ask, how do you have gas pressure without a container, then they say, well, we've got a gas pressure gradient. It's a red herring.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. It's a red herring. It seems like it's relevant, but it's not, because to have a gas pressure gradient, you need gas pressure first.
First, the gas pressure. If the sky was a vacuum, if you all have a window, look out of it at the nice blue sky above you. If that was an area of volume devoid of anything, that would be a vacuum. Then the gas we're breathing would never have developed pressure in the first instance. That is to say that the first gas would have been released from the ground or developed by whatever developed it. If it's vegetation, it seems unlikely in the first instance, but nevertheless, however the first gas was produced, it would leave the ground, enter the vacuum, because it would be 10 to the minus 17 torr at surface level, and it would just carry on through that vacuum in whatever direction it left the ground in, and it would just keep going. It would never hit anything. That would mean to say it doesn't ever press on anything to create pressure. We'd never have gas pressure if the lies of the sky vacuum and outer space were true. We'd never develop gas pressure.
Well, thank God for those rebellious gas particles.
Hey, chocolate. You know, when we were all kids, I remember wanting to go play with the soccer ball or football or volleyball, you name it. And hey, this is flat. Who's got a pump? I mean, we don't know these rules about the, you know, how can I put it, with gravity, with F equals or whatever. You know, no one thinks that way when they're a kid. They just say, hey, it's flat. We need some air in it. Now, if we knew we could put air in something, and as we put it in, it escaped, we'd just get a new ball. Something's wrong with that ball. So everyone knows what we're talking about here. Then they go to all these extents to try to say, well, it works down here on Earth with the ball and all that, but there's something else that keeps it on Earth other than a container. You really have to stretch and strive to get rid of all the examples you saw as a kid.
Well, it's sort of like you saying that dogs exist, and then my rebuttal would be like, well, what about chihuahuas? Huh? You know, what about this chihuahua over here? That's what the gas pressure gradient, you know, it's just.
Well, I'd say you're barking up the wrong tree.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Well, wherever it is, it's not over there right now.
Lovely here. Not that I like talking about the weather, but yeah, beautiful.
According to
Beautiful over here,
99% of the
too.
according to 99% of the classrooms all over the world, the sun is 93 million miles away. What's the problem? Prove me wrong.
How did they measure that?
They calculated it
From what?
from presupposition that the Earth is a sphere and that the Venus is also a sphere and at the same
Right.
size and that. I mean, it's not convoluted at all.
Well, no, even that in and of itself had to be derived from a measurement. What was the initial measurement?
Hold on, tell them all. When they just looked at Venus, it's the same size as Earth. What's wrong with that? The little assumption they took, and then they went from there.
But you still need a measurement of something before you can
Well,
do
John,
a
the bottom
calculation.
line is it says 93 million miles away in the books.
John, the measurement they say they are using it is R.
No, they had to derive R from somewhere too. Like, where are they measuring all that? They're measuring this stuff from Earth, right?
That's the question. Any evidence of the R value? That's Earth as a sphere with a radius value.
Well,
What's
what
the
would you
point if
accept
don't
as
have
evidence?
one, right? I mean, if everything is based on the globe, but they don't have the radius value, then it kind of becomes mathematical, doesn't it? It's just
No,
they mathematically assume that, and then everything builds on top of that.
Yes.
Well, you got to, well, before you can say it's mathematical, you need something to be to put into the calculation.
Difference
Right.
between eye level and the horizontal plane.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Your ball comes from a flat Earth derivation. Anybody who's on the ball still happening to watch this? The ball was measured by way of flat Earth measurements. You wouldn't have the ball if it wasn't for the flat Earth we're standing on.
And the flat Earth celestial sphere model that they utilize those measurements in to come up with the idea of the celestial sphere.
So you need a flat Earth to measure, and you need a flat Earth to be modelled, that would be the celestial sphere model, in order to derive a heliocentric globe Earth model. Not that we're standing on one. We've measured a flat plane, modelled a flat plane, and then you've taken that model of a flat plane with the sphere of the heavens around it and turned that into a ball. Sad.
And it's rightly named because when they find that out, it is a true depression angle.
Yeah, that's the derivation. It's the depression angle. They've called it a dip angle measurement when Al-Biruni is claimed to be measuring the R value. But what's he actually doing? We know he's not measuring a ball because he takes the height based on a flat plane measurement to get the height. He can only do it that way. So his starting point is a flat Earth when he starts doing the measurements. The fact that he goes forth to then assume that the dip is based on a curved surface moving away when he just measured it flat to get the height of the mountain is neither here nor there. He's had to measure a flat Earth in the first instance. Al-Biruni.
But for the audience to understand what happened and how they hijacked it, is if you're at a big warehouse and the ground is flat, obviously, for the warehouse to hold objects, and you stand on an object and look down at the ground, you're going to have a depression angle to the flat surface. Al-Biruni on top of the mountain had the same thing. And he says, okay, well, I'm going to use that, like John did, made his kitchen into a sphere.
Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
You know the Earth is spinning because everything is so stationary and still.
That's a bit of a spin on Elon Musk. You know it's real because it looks so fake. You know it's spinning because everything looks so stationary.
Yeah. I mean, that formula that he did can basically apply to every asset of the globe religion, right?
Is Musk a liar?
Remember what he said after that? He said, we have better CGI than that.
Is Musk a
Brilliant.
liar? You know, we say there's only a few small handfuls of people that we can say, you are a liar. If Tim Peake was stood in front of me now, I'd call him a liar. So, as much as it's terrible to speak ill of the dead, M. Scott Veitch's father was a liar. And I'd say that to his face. Without speaking ill of the dead, because he is and was a liar, as are all astronauts. That's demonstrably provable. They're talking about going to Narnia as though it's real. They're liars. What about Elon Musk?
Not necessarily.
That's what I always thought. Go on, what's your rationale for not necessarily?
Well, it's not like he's designing the spaceship, getting in it, and going to the second law of thermodynamics violation. He's just reaping the benefits of people claiming to do that.
Sack of shit. If you had all that money, yeah, first thing you're doing is going up in your spaceship. So the only defense he's got is, yeah, I'm really rich, eccentric, multi-billionaire who's got no interest in actually going up in the rockets that I'm building. Because the second he goes up in that rocket, he's got a decision to make of how he then portrays what he sees, hasn't he? So you can make the excuses that he doesn't understand how an electric car works or how rockets work, but the simple fact is he's the owner of all of that. He has the ability to go up whenever he wants and see it. So the only mitigation is to claim, yeah, I've got no interest in even looking at the Earth as a ball.
I agree, but he has.
Maybe
He's a liar.
For us to declare it, though, Adam, would you not agree he has plausible deniability? Oh, someone's just put up a Tim Peake picture, perfectly timed.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly that. Plausible deniability. Yeah.
But it is plausible.
Plausible deniability, yeah, if you believe that he's such a quirky eccentric, he invests all his time and effort into building a space program, he's got no interest in going on himself. That's plausible, I suppose.
No, see, then there has to be someone in Elon Musk's company. See, there has to be someone in Elon Musk's company who is faking the Starman in space and the Earth behind it.
And they've all got
and then
plausible
showing it to
deniability
him,
too.
and he's
You're
not
right.
aware
But
of
Adam
it.
is right.
no, they've got plausible deniability too. In the same way, the guy who says, "Well, it's Photoshop because it has to be," I wouldn't label that guy a liar. Not at all. He's just doing his job. And if you've been charged or challenged with making Starman fake CGI footage, and you understand that that's what you're an expert in, they're not liars. They're just charged with making a task. Elon Musk, on the other hand, beyond his plausible deniability, which he has managed to maintain, which means I can't label him and brand him a liar with a clear conscience. He might
What do you mean?
not
He
be.
should be the first one up there.
I was coming to
If
that,
it
Neil.
was me, I'd be
Neil, I'm
right
coming
up
to
there.
that. Right, the other day we talked about the episode of The Crown that I watched where the Prince of Wales met the astronauts that had gone to the moon. And in that same episode, one of the things he does as a pilot, learning to fly, he's like, I'm part of the Royal Air Force, I need to be able to fly. Just take me up in planes and show me how to fly. But when he gets his wings or whatever you get and he starts commanding a flight, he goes in a very up-to-date, sophisticated aircraft, and that normally flies at 35,000, and he takes it up to something like 55,000. And the guy's like, we're right at the limits of what this plane can do, sir. And he's like, yeah, whatever. I want to go up higher. That's all he's interested in. Right, Adam, that's your point. So when he gets to talk to the astronauts, this is from the, reasonably reliable sources, and apparently they thought this was reasonably accurate. And I can imagine it, even though it is dramatized to be reasonably accurate, right? All he wants to talk about is going up to the heavens. And they're talking about heaters going wrong and just looking at charts and, because they're liars, right? But as Adam says, Elon Musk would only have one interest. What would that interest be? Going up and seeing it.
If he was the Prince of Wales, yes. That's what the Prince of Wales says.
Yes,
he would
okay,
do.
thank you. It's just a comparison.
In the Tesla cars, the Tesla truck, the Tesla flamethrower. Did he ever go on all of them, or did he just
Yeah, he
invent
did.
them and
Yeah,
never
he
bothered to
did.
use
Yeah,
it?
yes, he did. Even though those weren't his, they were crowdfunded, right? He's supporting them through crowdfunding. So although he's got a hand in it, he's not actually risking any of his own money in those little endeavours. Very sensible man. I've got to take your hat off to Elon Musk. Obviously, he's very, very rich. But yeah, he did have a go, didn't he? Right.
Well, is the things that those things produced claim to be going into one of the most dangerous environments that we can create, such as a vacuum.
Let's go back in time and look at Richard Branson, who's gone through the exact same process. I'm sure there's others that people can mention, but it's the one I can remember most prevalently in my recent history. Right, in our lifetime, we can all remember Richard Branson with Virgin. Do we all remember the bullshit of Richard Branson? He was doing the drop things. Who's causing feedback? Chocolate. The drop flights where they launch off on a rocket of sorts and then get up to a certain speed and then drop a further rocket from underneath it and then shoot that off into space. That was Virgin's endeavour, something they've been doing since the 70s.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Supposed to be some type of a suborbital flight, something like that.
Right. They've all had...
At this point, it should have been commercial, because that's what they were. That was the whole plan, right? To take regular normies who could afford it up high enough to see the curve of the Earth and all that beautiful nonsense.
It's a perpetual scam, isn't it? Because they're constantly promising it, and you've got all these private businesses like Branson, like Musk, who punt it and promote it in that way. It's like love bombing. You know, they dangle a little bit in front of you, and then there's the constant promise of it coming eventually. And in your lifetime, when you get to 60 or 70 and you forget all about the notions of maybe going up with Richard Branson, you know, you die, and then the next generation get Musk doing it.
Don't forget
But
Bezos.
you may have that token, Nathan, of spending £200,000 in the late 90s to book your ticket. But I'd just like to offer you a credit note towards the £500,000 flight to space in the year 2030. And this man's earned millions and millions selling these tickets to space that not one's been fulfilled yet.
Right, and so support me in my GoFundMe to send a flat earther to space. We're just going to get $500,000 accrued.
I get your point, John, but no, I don't want to be like them. I don't want to con people, right? As much as we've recently been called scammers. No, we don't want to. I don't want to personally convince people that they can travel to the outside edge or the outer ring as a flat earther and then perpetually sell tickets to something that can't happen. I'm not saying there isn't an outer edge. There might be. I don't know. But anyway, my point is with space.
I didn't claim that.
Go on. Well, maybe I missed your subtlety then.
Right. Space. The thing you're already in, right? So I could just get you a plane ticket to Hawaii, you know.
Outer space.
And
outer space is what they're selling.
I didn't claim outer space. I said just send a flat earther to space.
Fair enough.
Well, didn't Neil deGrasse Tyson come against all three of them and say, those guys aren't in space?
Yep.
You talking about when he slapped the beach ball?
No.
He actually downplayed the idea that now people are so excited and thrilled about us supposedly sending rockets that just go up a little bit and come back down to land. So he's well within the narrative because, you know, obviously he thinks that people walked around on the moon in 1969. So he's kind of taking the stance of, well, this is not really space. I mean, what are we doing? They're just going up a little bit and coming back. And there's not even people going up. So he's on that page.
He
But
said
then again, he is one of the priests, so.
Yeah, he says just a high altitude. They're not even close to being where the ISS or astronauts go. They're not astronauts, he said.
Well, you're not going to see any curvature from 2 millimeters above this beach ball. I wish I had a beach ball to slap.
Well, that was his other
fantastic
thing.
magic trick. What a glorious, that is his best magic trick.
Yeah, it is. Because he says exactly the truth in a way to make you believe you got to go really, really high to see the lie.
Well, to see what he's made you as a flat earther and globe earther reify from physical geometry on the beach ball at the limitation of the edge of the beach ball for an ant looking beyond that limitation. That would be the edge of the beach ball in physical terms, a geometric edge. Well, when you describe it by contrast with you're not going to see the curve of the Earth, you're automatically on both sides taking that position that there's a physical limitation to your view at the horizon without him even saying it. And he also drops into that same particular magic trick. That stuff is flat. Oh, just epic. In terms of magicianry, that is outstanding work, Tyson.
Yes.
My hat is off to you.
That's
I don't agree with your
that's it.
heliocentric nonsense, but I will take my hat off to a superb bit of wizardry, which that was.
Looking
Except
at a
the
ball and saying that is flat and you nod. It's brilliant.
Except when you go pull up the origins of this globe and how they used the bottoms of ships and buildings disappearing, and that was the basis of curvature. And now he says, no, 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 that could never happen. But that's how they got everyone through optics and perspective.
Arwin yesterday was saying that, what's his name? Ken Wheeler, right? Ken Wheeler's some sort of good magician because he's, you know, duping the people that believe his nonsense waffle. Nah, the multi-levels of Tyson in that magic trick, that's good wizardry.
You know what's another of his good tricks is to have his space talk show with a comedian and laugh about almost everything they say.
He's just careful with his words. So when he talks about Coriolis, if you actually listen to what he says about Coriolis, he never explicitly states that the Earth turns underneath. He never says that, ever. You'll never get a soundbite of him saying it either. He implies it in the most crafted way that you've ever heard. I know because I've tried to get sound bites out of it, and it's a very difficult task. Normally what you end up with is him saying something that loosely relates to Earth turning underneath as a non-inertial turning reference frame, and the diagrammatical example that the producer he's talking on the video of has put an example of Earth turning underneath a football, for example, visually. But he isn't actually saying it. Now, he means it because his description implies it, but it's only ever by implication, so he's never caught out with someone saying, "You mean Earth turns underneath the football?" Even though they've heard the explanation, he's made it convoluted enough to keep the explanation sound and explicit in regards to Earth having to turn underneath the football without saying Earth turned under the football. He doesn't do that. He's too skilled.
Yeah, but he does say it's caused by the rotation of the Earth. I mean, are you not to assume that the rotation of the Earth is happening underneath the football that's being kicked?
Well, that allows the anti-flat earthers to say that the Earth and atmosphere are rotating together because he doesn't explicitly state underneath.
Well, they can say that,
That
but
would
that's
make no
not.
sense because that would just be one reference frame. So why would
Right,
you even
it-
say the Earth's rotating underneath? That would even be the cause. The whole thing is, as the ball was being kicked, the Earth is rotating underneath, and the field goal post moves enough so that the team can score.
Right, that's the understanding you have, but that's why it's such a good magic trick, because of the words he doesn't say.
Exactly. You can't just come
So
out
the
with
only
Earth turned under
word
the
he
football.
doesn't say is underneath, because he does say rotation of the Earth. I know that.
Yeah, but rotation
So
of the Earth is a
maybe
nice, safe term. Everybody who he's talking to has that safely tucked away in their educational background. So saying, well, the Earth's turning, everyone would just go, yeah, of course. But if you add on underneath the football, people would look at you and go, whoa, what? So if I jump up and down like the football, the Earth will turn under me. That don't happen, Tyson. But he doesn't say that. So the craft is in what he doesn't say. John's absolutely right.
Well, let me go with chocolate and see what you guys say here. So chocolate, when the Earth is rotating, is that why the stars and the sun and the luminaries seem to move?
Yes, but
According
you
to
didn't
their
say
narrative,
underneath
yep.
Hang on,
You
the chocolate.
Yeah, according to them, yeah.
Okay, so then what happened when the drone lifted off the surface of the Earth and is now filming or taping the stars are still moving?
Yes, they are.
Oh, so then the Earth's rotation wasn't the reason the stars seem to move, because the drone is now off of the Earth. It's not stuff in the sky that's local, it's the stars now. So it's not Earth and atmosphere moving as one anymore. Even if they hold on to that, are they now saying Earth, atmosphere, sun, moon, and stars are moving as one? Well, then we'd never
No.
have night.
No, because they're saying that the drone is moving with Earth at that point.
Then there's no effect. So if the drone's moving with the Earth, then the football would be moving with Earth in the example that Neil deGrasse Tyson gives. But it isn't. It's deflecting as a result of Earth turning underneath, as we've gone over several times. He just doesn't explicitly state the turning underneath bit. The deflection to the right he says the deflection to the right caused by Earth's rotation. Okay, well, a 1/4 inch deflection to the right caused by Earth's rotation is just on the edge of being complicated enough for your average normie to not recognise that means Earth's turning under the football.
Okay, fine.
Right, that's our understanding.
Okay, so if the Earth is if the drone is turning with the Earth, then are we in the open or closed system at this point?
Closed regardless, but that would require a closed system in their example also.
Okay, fine. So then if they're going to go that far, then we're in a closed system and you can never get to outer space.
Yeah, I mean, that is something I took it to with the late George Netanyahu. Exactly that. If you're going to give an example of a train moving along and you throwing a ball back and forth on the train and how the ball doesn't suddenly whiz to the back just because you're moving at 70 miles an hour on the train, well, that's a closed system. So Earth's a closed system, according to that example. It's half a win.
End of NASA.
Go on.
No, it's the end of NASA. It's over. It's all.
Yeah.
If it's that, then it's over.
Yeah. But their claim in that regard, when they give that example, goes against the actual globe Earth claim, which is why it's safe territory to argue with us. In other words, if we're arguing with an anti-flat earther about how Earth and atmosphere move together, like an example on a train where you throw a ball and it doesn't drift away at 15 degrees an hour, then it doesn't drift away at 15 degrees an hour, and that's what the actual globe claim is. So they're getting you to argue against a position the globe doesn't actually hold, therefore you can argue all day long with them about it.
Right, and that's what I was trying to say about the drone when it goes up and the stars don't stand still, because the underneath isn't explicitly stated by Tyson. Their cognitive abilities will push towards that means it's not rotating it is rotating with the Earth.
Well, let's be clear here, because in celestial navigation, when you use Greenwich time for longitude, every hour, the sun, if that's the star you're using, is moving 15 degrees an hour. So that's how you're able to pinpoint your longitude using Greenwich. So they can't get away from it too far.
Right, but it's never meant to make sense, I don't think. It's a loose, like when you go into it, as we have, it'll fall apart because it's wrong.
I know, that's the fun part of just digging and digging. It's like a kid with his hand in the cookie jar saying his hand's down the cookie jar. This is all the arguments end up being visually like, what? You're gone. It's over. If you say this, then you can't have space flight. If you say you want space flight, then it can't be this. It's contradictory at every point because they're lying to begin with.
Right, but you're still, and the nice thing about it is as flat earthers, when we let them claim Coriolis, we're letting them have the non-inertial turning reference frame and a radius value without challenge, just to point out that their logic is flawed even with that.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why they do it in that way, because at that point they've got their non-inertial turning reference frame. So Earth is rotating in both examples, regardless of the outcome. So Earth and atmosphere moving together to not induce Coriolis effect, as is claimed by the globe. Well, you've still got them rotating, so they win. Earth rotating underneath the football to give a 15 degrees an hour deflection. Well, Earth's rotating as a non-inertial turning reference frame. You're giving it to them either way, regardless if they fight the anti-flat Earth, we're not going to see any deflection position that Simon Dan foolishly put to me, or if they were actually fighting for the globe's position of non-inertial and inertial reference frame inducing a Coriolis deflection as things leave the ground, like a football. Either way, you've got a non-inertial turning reference frame assumed in both cases. So if they can get you to have that false dichotomy argument, or argue against the anti-flat Earth position doesn't affect the globe's claim that it is actually turning underneath, they win both ways.
You remember, Nathan, when they used to say, well, that's powered flight? Remember that?
That was what? Howard? Who's he?
Powered flight. When we would use the airplane example, they'd say, well, you have to account for it with a bullet, but you can't use an airplane because that's got an engine.
Means they don't understand Coriolis effect, because the effect is only induced as you turn beneath things. That was something that Wolfie 6020 will forever be spanked by me with, because he's too dumb to understand how Coriolis works. and somehow thinks it's reference to the plane, the trajectory of the projectile, you will be observing as you turn beneath to see Coriolis drift. Wolfie, you stupid idiot. You're being smack bummed by a flat earther right now for your dumb lack of knowledge when it comes to Coriolis effect. Have they not sacked you yet, Wolfie? Why have you got a pilot's license when you don't understand Coriolis drift? Wolfie will ever be my whipping boy in this regard. You dumb fool. Just want to get that in there.
Can you go through your skit of him calling the tower? I thought that was
Ground control to Major Idiot Wolfie 6020. I am observing your plane from a roundabout. It appears to be drifting at the rate I'm turning beneath it. Please engage your Coriolis deflection correction meter immediately.
Hey, it's Wolfie 6020 here. I'll engage that immediately, because I'm thick as shit.
Right, you brought it back to the claim of the non-inertial turning reference frame at that point. But if they can get you to argue about the projectile, then they're winning, because you're not talking about the actual claim.
Normally, Wolfie can pull the wool over your average Joe's eyes by talking about his projectile that he flies. Not realising that Coriolis is only ever observable as you turn beneath things. Therefore, absolutely nothing to do with the flight that he's taking, only ever observed if you turn beneath his flight and observe it seem to drift as you turn beneath it. He ain't going to be correcting for that, like he says he's going to correct when he talks to people who don't know better. And then he met me. Didn't you, Wolfie, you dumb idiot? How they taste, Wolfie, you dumb idiot? You want to come across to your audience as being knowledgeable because you fly a plane? Yeah, it didn't take me, the flat earth, along to point out how stupid you were. You can only observe drift if you're turning beneath things, Wolfie. You're not going to be correcting for that in your plane. And that will forever be your idiocy held up with a light shining on it by me. Because you are fact stupid. That's Wolfie 6020, YouTuber. Pilot who should be fired. Putting people's lives in danger, thinking you're correct for drift you only observe if you're turning beneath things. The man should be fired. And I'll say it till the day I die, Wolfie. You should be sacked. Yeah? What are you going to do about it? I'll just laugh at you. While you go, oh, I'm really clever, I understand Coriolis. No, he doesn't, ladies and gentlemen. Wolfie's just stupid. That's why I'm educating him right now. That's what this is. A flat earther educating a pilot about Coriolis effect that he doesn't understand. You like that? You like those apples, Wolfie? How they taste? Yum, 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 yum.
Well, and this is one of the cases where I would disagree with Betty about assigning an argument to an individual, because he is claiming to be a subject matter expert. He has training as a pilot. He should know better.
You should know better, Wolfie. You shouldn't ever be in a position where a flat earther has to correct you on your lack of understanding of Coriolis drift. You should know better, Wolfie.
Isn't that a non-actual drift?
Pardon?
Isn't it a definition of Coriolis not actual drift?
Yeah, it's an illusion. Only observed as you turn beneath things, not accountable from a plane, like Wolfie states, because he's stupid.
So if it's an illusion, how do you correct for it?
You don't. Again,
Yeah,
Wolfie thought you
we're gonna
corrected for
need-
this illusion that nobody's actually experiencing in physical terms. It's not actually happening. You're never going to correct for that illusion. Again, it's just Wolfie. He's stupid. Like thick. Like needs firing. Subject matter expert, my ass. Thick. That's what Wolfie is. Doesn't deserve to call himself an expert. Doesn't deserve to fly a plane. Humiliating to be corrected on his quote-unquote subject matter expertise by me. That's embarrassing, Wolfie. Deeply embarrassing.
Isn't that a lot like Elon Musk example we gave earlier? Why doesn't he go up on his own thing? And Wolfie says things, but he really doesn't believe it?
Because
he does
Musk
fly?
knows better than to talk about things he doesn't know. He'd rather say, no, I don't understand how these things work. You know, but I understand how to exploit them in a business sense. Don't need to know how a rocket ship works. Well, that's him declaring his ignorance as a defence. Wolfie's the other end of the stupid Dunning-Kruger scale, though, isn't he? Declaring himself a subject matter expert when he doesn't actually understand how Coriolis works. Thinks he's correcting for illusions. Yeah, that's just stupid. But that's what arrogance gets you. Humiliated by me, the flat earther. I'll stick him on the thumbnail for today's show.
You know, we got someone in our panel named Flat Arthur.
Yeah, I got a great picture of Wolfie with some blonde in a crap box that he's about to fly. Hey, love, I know all about Coriolis effect. Oh, do you, Wolfie? I'm pretty dumb, so I'll believe you. Moving on. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
If I said P waves and S waves, would that be a problem?
It'd be a flat Earth proof.
Then I probably shouldn't say P waves and S waves. So.
Can you ask your question? Housekeeping question, that is, John.
Well, if Earth is a sphere and we navigate it as a sphere, then why do we have to apply a transformative equation to it?
You don't. You shouldn't.
Because it's flat. It's not a sphere. You can't be spherical and then have to apply a transformative spherical equation to something that's already spherical. There'd be no transformation. It would already be spherical.
You know what goes along with that, but on the other vein is
Bacon,
when you're
eggs.
using a sextant and you sight the horizon and you're 10 feet above sea level, you must subtract the 10 feet so you get a 90, which makes the Earth flat.
Any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline?
Negative.
If you could just get past this flat plane, we could calculate it as a sphere together.
No comments from Proto Thad in yesterday's show. Yeah, we just need to get over the fact we need a flat plane to measure first. If we can just get past that, we can all live happily ever after on a sphere, says anti-flat earthers when put to them that they have to use a flat plane.
And then the rebuttal to you is you're just hung up on that flat thing.
You're just getting hung
We
up on
use
that
it.
fact we need a flat plane. Don't get hung up on the flat plane we need.
I would like to
Nathan,
bring
who
it
was
back
the
to
one? Who was the one that said I'll give you the flat Earth? This is back way before the sextant argument.
Cats.
Yeah.
Right.
What I was going to say is we were talking about shorts earlier. Do you have that one as a short of him stating that?
Yes. You want me to dig it out?
That's just great.
Talk among yourselves, I'll dig it out.
Yeah, when he says that, or like when Zanuck said, "Don't get hung up on the flat plane," or the other.
Zanuck said, yeah, we did a flat plane to start with, something to that effect.
He said, "Don't get hung up on the flat plane." Protothad said, "If you could just get past this flat plane," and then another guy, I can't remember who it was we were talking about Alberuni measuring the mountain using a flat plane, and he said, "Well, who's claiming the Earth is curved?" You know,
Nobody's claiming
remember
it's
that?
curved. Yeah, I've got several of them. They're all trimmed iron shorts. It's just a bit more difficult to find than I've first anticipated, but keep chatting and I'll hopefully find it in the next couple of minutes.
So
I've got
who claims the
thousands of
Earth is
videos.
curved?
Sorry.
I guess no one now, right? So the
Right.
argument's over. Is that how it goes? Because that's the way it seems to be, doesn't it? That's why they're not coming in here anymore.
Yeah, it is particularly quiet at the moment, I'm not going to lie. But I don't know, I've always said I quite like it this way.
I do. It helps. You know, there's things that you could dive into and make even more clear, much like
So
you
I've
think you
used the flat
understand the
plane.
topic.
Come on, this Zanuck guy was obviously dingleberry dependent.
I am actually teabagging you as you lie dying in your globe faith that required you measure a flat Earth first, to then do the sphere bit later.
Yes.
Yes. So you need a flat Earth first. Welcome to flat Earth. What, it doesn't matter that you need a flat Earth first?
Not at all. So I've used the flat plane.
See if I can dig another one out. There's a couple of them.
Thanks, Anik.
Yeah, if someone heard that,
They're
they
not
wouldn't
shy,
say
right?
he's a glober.
They're not shy about saying use the
I
flat
used the
plane.
flat plane first. Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
I use the flat plane.
what flat plane? Thought it was supposed to be a ball.
How did you
Well,
use the
nobody's
flat
claiming
plane on a globe?
Nobody's claiming it's a globe yet. We got to get there first. We got to measure the flat Earth first.
Episode 1590 with Proto Thad, he is one that said, don't get hung up on that plane, because I listened to that episode quite a bit. It's probably one of your best episodes. It's a long one. It has a lot for show as well. I like that episode.
What's number 1590?
1590.
Yeah, for some reason Guild is breaking up a little bit. Say one more time the number.
1590.
1590. Yeah. Zanuck made an appearance after he was banned, and it was well worth letting him be, because I couldn't remember why we'd banned him. so he came in and carried on the conversation.
Well, yeah, but I think 1590 is the one where Proto Thad actually said that about the don't get hung up on this flat plane we're having to measure.
Yeah, I'm struggling to find it in my shorts list. There's 100 videos.
Correct.
No, even to this day, Prototad goes into chat and types in same nonsense. I mean, we were showing right around that show, one of those episodes of 1590, near it or after it, we were citing celestial navigation, we were citing, referencing everything. And they says, no, I don't agree with that. It's just making stuff up.
I'm getting close. I can feel it.
So, John, while we occupy till he finds it, what'd you do to your flat kitchen to make it into a sphere? How'd you do that?
Wow, that was wonderful.
I'm trying, Nathan.
So in the pre-show, we were discussing shorts and TikTok specifically, and I was moaning that I haven't got enough time to do it. And at the moment, I don't necessarily see the benefit, but you'll have to check out the pre-show if you're a new member, which obviously we've got a fair few members that are new now. Thanks to Godzilla. No, I can't find these videos. I don't think they are actually shorts. I think they're a couple of minutes long and therefore buried in mountains and mountains of videos. So it'll take me a while to dig them out.
Well, look, it's 7. You got 6 minutes according to my clock here. So just do a little short roulette. Put your finger on one. Let's see what we get.
No. I don't think I've got them in the shorts videos. I think they were used as intros, so they're still. I could find them easily on the second channel because I use those particular clips for the premiering streams. I might as well plug that. If you're not a member, you can still watch the members only videos, which are typically uncut and after shows, and any short videos that I edit pre-release. Well, obviously the ones that are pre-released get released on the main channel, but the uncut and after show does come out on my second channel. So if you're not already a subscriber, admittedly you get some of the shows 5 days later than they come out for members, but you can still pick up the shows. So they come out on the second channel, like I say, a few days after they've been released to members, which is immediately after they've been recorded. But you can check out all of these shows, uncut and after shows, and they're just in a nice long list on Nathan Oakley channel. So instead of Nathan Oakley 1980, it's just Nathan Oakley. But subscribe today if you didn't want to become a member. Obviously, not everyone wants to pay to get the material early, but you can still have it. And it just comes a few days later. So yeah, that's on my second channel. So check it out if you're not subscribed already.
Can you do that? Since we got a few minutes, play roulette short. Maybe it's a good way to end the show with the last 2 minutes or so. Just
fairly fresh to this whole flat Earth, globe Earth debate. Doesn't prove a sphere. The reason I brought it up is because I'm curious to know how it works on something flat.
Triangulate yourself with the 3 different positions because they're crossing at 2 different points when you've only got 2. So you could be either of these 2 locations, and when you get the third, you've got an exact location. But that means that all 3 of these circles are all circles of equal altitude with straight lines to get 90 degrees to the GP of the star? Well, this straight line here, and this straight line here, and this straight line here are necessitated to do the triangulation, meaning that all three of these circles are all circles on the same level plane.
Sextant could only work on a flat plane because you can't achieve an angle without two straight lines. You need a corner, a vertex. A curved line does not allow for a vertex or a corner.
Yeah, exactly. I would agree with that.
There you go. That was the only roulette you're going to get. But I would suggest somebody checks out my shorts playlist on the Nathan Oakley 1980 channel, as I think there's about 100 videos on there, and they're all about 60 seconds long. As I was moaning, I'm not necessarily moaning about it. I was saying they take a lot of work to produce for me. So to take what would be a 20-minute conversation and hack it down to a minute is a fair old task. But
just do your job.
But the consistency is there. So if you do want to check out the shorts playlist, it's in the bottom, very bottom of the main part of the channel. So if you go to the main channel homepage, Nathan Oakley 1980, that is, at the bottom, there's shorts. Check them out.
So are you saying you keep your shorts in the bottom drawer?
I do.
Just do your job and stop complaining. I want to hear about it no more.
On the floor of the channel. Anywho, I think we covered all the housekeeping, did we not? Right at the end of the live show. Could be asking people to stay tuned in a minute.
Did you do Molten Lion Core?
Yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
I think we covered all of them. Which is good. It's nice to spread them out, especially at the end of a week, which has been a bit of an up and down week. So right at the beginning of the week, everyone was obviously baying for blood because there'd been a week of shows that were all repeats because I was on holiday. And then everyone was super enthusiastic on the first show. Everyone wonderful panel. Everyone was enthusiastic. All of the audience are great numbers as well. 1.6 thousand views from one of the live shows is about 600 more than normal. They normally get about 1,000, 800, 900, 1,100, whatever. Average of 1,000. Well, that show was well received. The second show after that, I forgot to publish. So it went out, did exactly, everyone's enthusiasm level was just the same on Tuesday. But then at the end of it, because I've been testing the new computer, I forgot to list the show. So it stopped being live and then was immediately unlisted by me, like an idiot. So that kind of killed the momentum. And then towards Wednesday and yesterday, everyone sort of, had that sugar crash. And now today, it's like we've got back to a bit more consistency. So hopefully this will continue into the next week of shows from Monday. Yes, Nathan, I'm glad we're all back on an even keel. Me too.
5 days of shows makes 1 week.
It's just been a very turbulent week. That's all.
The enthusiasm level shouldn't go down, should it? Like, we should be excited about the fact that nobody's listening to the facts we're stating, right?
No, they are. The fact that people deny them and still stick their head in the sand or appeal to whatever else that isn't the point we're making is neither in or there. That regard, the audience, I don't think changes much in terms of what they want out of the show, what they get out of the show. But for me, producing the show, hearing the levels of, I call it a sugar crash, especially yesterday, everyone was really down. It got back into the flow of it, but it's like that Wednesday feeling you get when you're an office worker.
They used to come into the ring and have it out. Now they've lost so much and they're so punched and face swollen with their globe arguments failing at every point. They just come and chat. So now we're in the ring alone saying, come on in, let's hear your argument. No, we'll stay outside the ring and chat.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit like that with Spider-Man, the original, this sort of 2000 Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, when he fights the guy in the cage. From the outside, you're looking in at the guy in the cage going, he's a snarling monster. Well, that's how they look in on us, I think. They're terrified. There's no other way to describe it.
That's what I was going to say, Tent. There's a reason why they're looking at us from the outside. They don't want no part of these hungry hippos.
Indeed.
You got mean. You guys are mean.
We're mean and nasty.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at a hippo, they don't seem too dangerous until you go inside that pond.
And with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Gilded and G Plus panels for making today's live show possible. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on a Premiering Stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!